Well, good morning. Welcome to day 12 of the Bible Memory Challenge. If you made it through yesterday's verse 11, then that means that you have memorized Paul's first prayer there in Philippians, verses 9 through 11. So congratulations on doing that. One of the things I talk about quite often is this whole idea of owning Scripture. And I would say that if you got through yesterday's verse, you probably don't own that prayer yet. And what I mean by that is you probably, if you wanted to recite that prayer, you would probably have to think about the words that you're saying. But what's going to happen is in the days ahead, as you keep going back and reviewing day after day, you're going to get to the point where you know that prayer without even thinking about it. It'll just, boom, it'll come to you. You don't have to think about the words that you're going to say. It's just part of who you are. Perhaps if you saw the sermon that I preached this past Sunday in the pastoral prayer, actually I used some of Paul's prayer in Philippians in part of my pastoral prayer. And that's the great thing about learning the Scripture and owning the Scripture is no matter where you are, you can actually begin to take these passages and begin to pray them. I know we talked about that yesterday a little bit. So anyway, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. Let me just read, for review, let me just read that prayer to you that we've learned the last 3 days. And it is my prayer that your love may abound more and more with knowledge and all discernment, so that you may approve what is excellent, and so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ to the glory and praise of God. So make sure you have that. Make sure you string that together with the previous verses. And then today's verse, I think, is going to be a very easy verse for you to memorize. It just kind of, as I read it, it just flows very easily, I think. So I don't think you'll have any problems with it at all. It's verse 12. So it's 1:12. I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel. 1:12. I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel. So he's talking to these Philippians, and he wants them to know that the fact that he is now in prison, that somehow in some way that God has actually used this to advance the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we'll talk more about that in the verses to come. But I think you'll get that verse very easily. Say it 10 times slowly. Think about what Paul's saying. Then, of course, cover it up as we always do, and see if you can get through it from memory. And you'll be done for the day. So you guys are doing great. Hang in there, and God bless you guys, and we will see you tomorrow for day 13. See you then.